Five, four, three, two, one.
I'm from a place where the girls are always looking pretty. You might have heard of us, we call it Shy City. We build champions here who define gritty. We don't do excuses, we don't do pity. Rose is coming back stronger, that's a guarantee. Cutler's coming back too, he's beastly. Throwing it to Marshall, the title's ours easily. Black Hawks are winning titles, trophy looking massive. Don't forget about the Cubs, Sox, Crosstown Classic. With so much greatness, we gotta show bravado. You got your boys Ambro and Mike Mercado.
Welcome to WICB Radio on the Chicago Beat. I am Mike Mercado, and we are back and better than ever here on WICB Chicago and on the Chicago Beat. If you want to follow the show, comment us, do whatever you like. We're everywhere in the universe. If you want to follow us on Twitter at mmercado2333, or if you want to comment our show on Facebook, just go on Facebook/MacMercado2333.com. And it is another beautiful summer day here in Chicago. It is June 20th, 2012, and the big news all around the world, if you're here in the city of Chicago, is the fact that the White Sox are now out of first place, losing their second straight game to the Chicago Cubs, who are the worst team in the National League. But the big story, what we're going to concentrate today on the Chicago Beat, is the NBA Finals. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I hope you are enjoying every single second of what this Finals has given you. You have arguably 2, 3, maybe 4 of the top 15 to 20 players in the NBA playing right now. And not just playing, but putting up historical numbers. And of course, I'm talking about Russell Westbrook. Now, Russell Westbrook, in a loss, absolutely tore it up. The only reason Oklahoma City was in the game. In 45 minutes, he shoots 20 for 32. So he puts up 32 shots, but that's because nobody else wanted to shoot for the team. Puts up 43 points on 5 assists with 7 rebounds. Now, if you know here on the Chicago Beat, we don't like to just go off stats, because stats lie to you. You could read the box score all day. You could do it for the Bulls and look at Carlos Boozer's number and think, whoa, look at what he did. He should be an all-star. And watch the game and realize that the numbers don't justify what happened in the game. 28 points from Kevin Durant does not justify what happened in that game. Russell Westbrook was the only Oklahoma City Thunder who came to play. In that first run that they had in the first quarter, it was all off of penetration from Russell Westbrook, making his jump shots, which is huge for the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're a jump shooting team, and we're seeing what happens. A jump shooting team can only get you so far. And we're seeing when your big superstar like Kevin Durant is not performing like he did in Game 1, and it's the guy that everybody's been complaining about all season that is holding up your team. And the biggest disappointment for me has been James Harden. You know, on this show, I'm as high as it gets for James Harden. It is amazing to me how much he has struggled since the big lights have turned on. In 37 minutes, he only has 8 points. Goes 2 for 10. That can't happen. Kevin Durant cannot go 9 for 19. And because of that, because of the way they played the last 3 games, they're down 3 games to 1. And it's amazing to me how a year ago today, Dallas absolutely tarnished the Miami Heat. And then leading up all the way through these playoffs, into these finals, throughout the regular season, what happens if this team does not win? They're going to break them up. Who's going to be the piece that's gone? Who needs to be Batman? Who's Robin? Can they do it? Because so many superstars win a championship together. They're 48 minutes away from doing it. And it hurts me as a Bulls fan. Because obviously the rivalry, which some people, I heard it on Twitter. Again, you can follow the show at mmercado2333. And I showed my displeasure of how not only Oklahoma City has been playing, but that Miami is going to win the finals. And not only win the finals, the way they're winning the finals. Close games, but it just seems like everything has kind of just fell into the way of the Miami Heat. And I'm not going to take away when and if they win this championship. I'm not. But let's go down the road. We're not going to get too much into detail because we'll wait until after if they win it. But no Derrick Rose, an aging Boston team, struggled everything just kind of fell the way to the Miami Heat. And I don't want to count Oklahoma City out. You can't. They've done this before. They were down 0-2 to San Antonio. We thought, well, the young kids can't do it. And I'm rooting for them. As a youngster myself, I would love to see somebody my age, my legit age, win an NBA title. Especially over the best in the worlds of Miami in LeBron James and Dwayne Wade. Now, the unsung hero is Mario Chalmers. I mean, if anybody had told you last night Mario Chalmers would be the reason why Miami won, you'd smack him. Yeah, you would, and nobody would blame you. But he drops 25 points, and the biggest is 3 huge three-pointers. And what about Norris Cole with 8 points and 2 from 3 from the three-point line? So that's where the difference is coming in right there. You don't have to look at what LeBron James did. You don't have to look at what Dwayne Wade or Chris Bosh did. Look at the jump shooting. Miami is hitting their threes. Oklahoma City is not. And when you're an OKC team that's a jump shooting team and you are not dropping the shots and your MVP, the scoring champion, the man, the myth, the legend, the man who was going to take over LeBron James is not and is passing up shots, you're not winning an NBA final. I said it a week ago. You just saw it after game 2. Something has changed in the Miami Heat, and I can't tell you which team it is that's going to overthrow them. Because you still don't know what's going to happen with the Bulls. You've seen Oklahoma City give it their best shot and kind of just got toyed around with over the last few minutes in the fourth quarter. Is it youth? I've always been under the impression we don't know any better. As the youth of the nation, no pun intended, we don't know better. We don't know where the limitations are. I thought you were going to see off Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, it's a little bit different when you're talking about not only the NBA final stage, but against that team. A team that's supposed to win it. A team that was built to win it. Now, OKC, Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook will all win an NBA title. That's not a question. But after 9 years, it just might be LeBron James' turn. This is the Chicago Beat on WICB Chicago.
You're listening to WICB with Mike Mercado.
A city that has diehards who know when their teams are bad and know when their teams are good. And yet every single day they go to the stadium.
And that's the Beat.
Hope you guys are all having a beautiful Wednesday afternoon here in the beautiful city of Chicago. You're on the Chicago Beat on WICB. I am Mike Mercado, and don't forget you can follow the show at mmercado2333. And of course, what everybody's talking about here in the city other than the NBA Finals, it's the fact that the once first place Chicago White Sox have lost 2 straight to the lonely Cubs. And not just that, there's been no offense. The pitching has been, Jake Peavy threw a beautiful game yesterday, but there was no bats. And there hasn't been bats. So it goes back to what we've been saying all season long. They had to take advantage of the easy schedule that they had. They didn't. They had to take advantage of their hitting. They didn't. They had to take advantage of when their pitching was dominant. They didn't. And you know what? You can't blame them because they were a first-place team into June. And nobody's saying it's over yet. Because are you afraid of the Cleveland Indians? Go ahead. Give me 5 players from the Cleveland Indians right now. Exactly. Detroit's the only team that scares you in that division. But you can't score only 1 run on the Cubs bullpen and Travis Wood. You can't do that. You can't. You can't give up 12 runs to them the night before that. And now with John Danks in the DL, you're going to have to rely more on Phil Humber, who should not be on the Major League team. I'm sorry. I don't care if you threw in a perfect game. You have not done anything since. As a Cub fan, I'm glee. I'm loving this. Because for once, we're winning without caring. Who cares if the Cubs have beat the White Sox twice? You know what? Who cares if they sweep them? As nice as that would be, as much fun as we would have with our White Sox buddies, who cares? This series only means something to the White Sox because they need to win these games. They cannot get swept by the Chicago Cubs and then go out and expect to win the AL Central. And not just that, people are assuming that it's going to be the White Sox, the Indians, and Detroit for another wild card bid. I'm sorry. Every wild card and every playoff position is going to go to the AL East. The only way the White Sox are going to make the playoffs is if they win their division. That's it. And have they shown anything consistently to tell you that they're going to? No, of course. Are they better than the Cubs? Yeah. I mean, I have a tweet right here saying, who cares? The Cubs are still worse than the White Sox. Nobody's disagreeing with you with that. But you can't go into a series against a team that's worse than you when you're in first place trying to make some distance between 2 teams who are right up your heels and lose like that and not show up. They do it again today at 8:10 at U.S. Cellular. I think the White Sox are going to come out and win. But it would not surprise me if I come on tomorrow on the Chicago Beat and the White Sox have lost. How can it? And they are only a half game behind the Cleveland Indians, still 2.5 games over the Detroit Tigers, who still kind of go back and forth. So, I mean, it should be interesting. I'm sitting here. It's June 20th. We're almost into July. And for White Sox fans, you really can't be upset of the White Sox maybe not being in first place right now, but you're in contention. Did you think you were going to be in contention earlier on this season? And Sigurd, producer man, check the standings out for me really quickly. It is Cleveland, who at 35 and 32 have a half-game lead over the 35 and 33 White Sox. And the Detroit Tigers are 33 and 34 2 games behind Cleveland. And even Kansas City at 31 and 36 is only 4 games back. So the division is not up. It's not clear cut going to the White Sox. It's a toss up. And if Detroit just figures out what they're doing, because you know what you're getting from Justin Verlander, but the rest of it, Prince Fielder, all these guys can do what they're supposed to. You might just see it. And I don't see how another wild card is coming out of this division. I mean, you have the Anaheim Angels at 37-32. You have Tampa Bay at 38-39, Baltimore at 39-29, New York at 41-27, even Boston's 34-33, Toronto's 35-34. You got to take care of it now, and it has to start now. It's almost July. You're getting into the months of summer. Let's the White Sox. If you're a White Sox fan, it's crunch time. Let's get it. Let's make some room in this division. And don't forget, you can follow us everywhere in the universe. We're at Twitter at mmercado2333, or you can find us on Facebook /MikeMercado2333.com.
You're listening to WICB with Mike Mercado.
A city that has diehards who know when their teams are bad and know when their teams are good. And yet every single day they go to the stadium.
And that's the beat.
And it is time for my favorite segment of the week here on the Chicago Beat on WICB. As I hope everybody's having a beautiful Wednesday day here in the city of Chicago, or wherever you're listening to us all over the web. Derrick Rose went to visit Dr. Andrews yesterday. Now, everybody knows that Dr. Andrews is one of the best surgeons in the world. Everybody visits him. And there was word Derrick Rose went to go visit him yesterday. So Michael Wilbon on ESPN 1000 here in Chicago said that there is some news going around the Bertle Center and around the Bulls that it's actually not good news. That there's a lot going on. Now, he was specifically saying he doesn't want to report that. But people are saying it's not going as good as people thought it was going to. But then the story comes right out the next day, or earlier on today at least, that the Bulls have a physical therapist whose office is in the same office as Dr. Andrews. Again, it's people bored in the city of Chicago and all over the world, wanted to make a big deal out of nothing. Derrick Rose is a young kid. He'll come back better and stronger. I mean, just for an example, Baron Davis had the same surgery in UCLA back in '97, I believe. Baron Davis had a nice career. Jamal Crawford, same injury, had a nice career. This is not a death sentence to Derrick Rose. It's not the 1960s. It's not the 1970s. Not the 1980s. There's the technology and the therapy. It's going to be hard. Like, nobody wants to. Anybody who's gone through any type of therapy knows it's going to be hard. He'll be fine, though. The guy's a physical specimen. He's an MVP, for God's sake. Like Stacey King says, he's a Ferrari among Hondas. So, don't worry, Chicago. If you're a White Sox fan, don't worry about Derrick Rose. Worry about your baseball team. If you're a Cubs fan, look forward to the Bears. Just hope that the Bulls are full healthy and ready to go by March and April, and ready for hopefully even somewhat of a playoff push. So for everybody here at WICB and on the Chicago Beat, I am Mike Mercado. I appreciate you guys for listening and putting up with my garbage all day. Don't forget you can follow the show. We're everywhere in the universe. So if you have a Twitter and you have it on your phone, why not follow us at mmercado2333. You'll get all the best breaking news in Chicago sports. And if you like listening to us so much, you can find us again on Facebook and on YouTube /MikeMercado2333.com. Alright, everybody, enjoy the weather. Go outside and go get some sun. This has been the Chicago Beat, only on WICB.